For Christmas, Greg's parents decide to go on vacation to the beach resort where they had their honeymoon. That sounds great! I'm sure they'll have a lovely time. Wait, it's a vacation with the kids? On second thought, this vacation will probably be a nightmare.
Argo Funk Book Review, Argo Funk Book Review.
The flight to the resort is a total disaster. Traffic is a mess, the shuttle to the airport straight up ignores them, and Manny gets upset because they won't let him ride in the x-ray machine. The flight's delayed. It's hilariously realistic how the people in the airport will not give up their seats for anything. No, you can't sit in the seat that I'm not using. I put a shirt there. I also loved the joke how everyone crowds around the charging station, forcing Greg to use a charger by the women's restroom. On the plane, Greg is scared by the video of what to do in case of an emergency. Greg is stuck between a sleeping man and a screaming baby. Both the person behind Greg and the person in front of Greg take up his space. It's so bad, Greg prefers hiding in the bathroom over being in his seat. It's also funny how he keeps bothering the flight attendant without realizing it. The resort ends up being so impressive, it makes me want to take a tropical vacation. The resort has a wild side for adults only, and a mild side for families. There's a wall separating the two sides. The Heffleys are unhappy to learn they got the wrong suitcase. Dad calls the airline. The airline says they sent the correct suitcase back to the United States. I can't believe this. It's been an hour at most, and the airline already gave up on the Heffleys. They should get a refund or something. Greg is forced to be part of a conga line. There's a coin toss for kids in the pool, which becomes a mad free-for-all with thieves and cheaters. The rest of the day goes badly. Greg is scared by an iguana, birds steal their food, and Dad gets stomach sickness from the water. Mom expects Greg to clean up the hotel room instead of letting room service pick up after him. Nobody wants to do chores on Christmas Day. Greg is terrified when there's a large spider in his slipper. He tries getting help from a resort employee, but the employee is an even bigger wimp than Greg. After a lot of agonizing, they finally get rid of the spider in the toilet. Only they don't. The spider comes back later to terrify Dad. I would be so scared if I was using a toilet and a giant spider crawled out at me. Manny collects weird creatures in his pail, and Roderick starts hanging out with a girl in the teen zone. Mom signs the family up for a banana boat ride, which is ruined when they fall off, and random kids break the banana. The only indoor restaurant at the resort requires dress clothes, so they're forced to eat at a swim-up bar. They're kicked out when Manny messes with the TV. A beach bonfire is ruined by bugs. There's a turtle hatching, which is actually pretty cute, but Roderick sneaks away to kiss his girlfriend, and Manny steals a baby turtle. Yeesh! Mom and Dad can't take their kids anywhere, can they? Greg gets stuck watching Manny. Manny pees his pants on purpose just to get out of going to the toddler play place. The toddler pool is also filled with pee. Greg tries using a raft to avoid touching the water, but the toddlers all attack him in a giant group, like something out of a horror movie. The family goes snorkeling. Greg is a wimpy kid, so he's afraid of sharks and other deadly animals. He's scared by harmless fish, and he worries he swallowed a seahorse. He should be afraid of Manny's bucket, which has a poisonous jellyfish inside. The jellyfish causes a panic at the resort, and the pool has to be drained for days. That's when Mom and Dad realize they left Roderick behind in the snorkeling area hours ago. By the time they get back to him, he has severe sunburn. Greg goes to a tennis event for middle schoolers. The man in charge locks all the kids in a tennis court, then leaves to be alone. So he's not even trying to watch the kids. The middle schoolers have a big fight with tennis balls, which ends with everybody attacking Greg. The Heffleys are about ready to call it quits, but Dad wants to have at least one decent meal here before they leave. They steal dress-up clothes from the suitcase that doesn't belong to them. The meal is great, until they're caught by the people whose clothes they're wearing. The Heffleys make a pitiful attempt to escape on a golf cart. The guard doesn't even have to run to catch up to them. The family's kicked out of the resort, but they sneak back in the next day. Roderick's heartbroken to see his vacation girlfriend kissing another guy. The Heffleys have a fairly good time this day, until they're caught. Greg tries to windsurf for his escape, but he doesn't know how to windsurf, so he's blown about randomly. He makes it to a dolphin enclosure, which is fun. He lands on a beach with nude sunbathers, which is not fun. Greg is chased off by an angry mob. He makes it to the wall in the middle of the resort, only to run into the revenge of the spider. The spider comes at Greg, the wall gets knocked down, and there's a huge stampede. Unsurprisingly, the Heffleys are banned from the resort for life. The end. Post-book follow-up. I thought this was a great book, much better than The Long Haul, which is also a vacation book. When I saw the plane trip at the start was 60 pages long, I was worried the author was going to drag things out for way too long by mentioning every possible little thing about airplanes. I was impressed by how good it is. The pacing is great. Unlike last book, the 1 to 2 page asides were funny and related to what was going on. Yes, the airplane trip is milked for as long as possible, but it's not sour milk, which is the important thing. The last 25 pages of the book would not have happened if Greg's parents had refused to steal, then break into the resort after being kicked out for stealing. My wife pointed out that Greg's parents are getting worse as this series goes on. Dad used to be a stern authority figure who was so embarrassed by Greg's wimpiness he planned to send Greg to military school. Now Dad is a bigger wimp than Greg. Mom is a more sympathetic character because her heart is in the right place, but she tends to order everyone around a lot, which is not surprising considering how often her children misbehave. Overall, I thought the book was really good. Either this or Old School is my favorite of the 4th Wimpy Kid trilogy. There's probably no point in thinking of these books as trilogies. Yeah, it's a series. It's not a bunch of trilogies. Oh well, still a great book. I give Diary of a Wimpy Kid number 12, The Getaway, a 10 out of 10.